Hello and welcome to the Print interview. I am Shubhangi Mishra, senior correspondent, and today I have a very special guest with me, Dr. Sankurathri Chandrashekhar, who was conferred with the Padmashri earlier this year for his social work by the Sankurathri Foundation. Dr. Sankurathri lost his wife and children in the 1985 Kanishka Air India bomb blast, where Flight 182 exploded mid-air over the Atlantic Ocean in a Khalistani terrorist attack. It killed 329 people on board. Almost all of them were Indian origin and Canadian citizens. Dr. Sankurathri left his practice in Canada 4 years later and returned to India in 1988. In 1989, he began his foundation in Kakinada to do social work in the name and memory of his family, his late wife Manjari, his son Kiran, and daughter Sharda. A very warm welcome to the Print, sir.
Thank you.
So your foundation has educated more than 4,500 children in Andhra Pradesh and have provided accessible, equitable eye care in tribal and rural Andhra Pradesh.
Yeah.
Is there more you would like to tell us about your charitable work to our viewers?
The reasons we started the education was because I know education is the most important thing for the human development. I know many children in the rural areas did not have access to good quality education and good eye care also. So this was the reason why for me to select the rural area and came to the rural area near Kakinada, where I established my foundation. From this, I organize all my activities, including the school, education, and eye care programs, and also the other program called Spandana, which is a disaster relief program at the time of natural disasters. Those three are happening here only. The reason to focus in the rural areas is that's where most of the people live, and that's where they don't have access to these quality sources.
Right, sir. So when and why did you decide that you wanted to return to India and start social work in the name of your family?
After the accident, I thought there was no purpose for me to stay and do what I'm doing. So I thought I should do something meaningful and purposeful with my life. So I quit my job and came here in 1988 with a mission to provide these services to the local people here.
And what has been the major driving force in your charitable career all these years, apart from the demise of your family?
Major factor is to keep what I'm doing is when I see the development of the children after the education, at what stage they have reached in their life. And second thing is we could eliminate the child laborers from the community and also prevented the child marriages, which were very common in these areas.
Right.
And second thing is regarding the eye care, all the people living in the rural areas do not have access to quality eye care. So that's where I came in, trying to provide this to them. When people with both eyes, cataracts, blindness, cannot see, they walk into the hospital with the help of somebody or fumbling all over. After the operation, within few hours, they can see again, and you can see the joy in their faces, the smiling and all that. Those smiles keeps me motivated. Despite all the odds, all the challenges I have, that keeps me going.
I want to ask you, 38 years after the tragedy, do you think there's still a sense of lack of justice among the kin of the victims? And even for the victims, do you think the Canadian judicial system did justice to the tragedy?
Canadians have been very supportive to me all along. And because I lived in several parts of country, at least 4 places. And during the process, I met several Canadians. They were all good supporters. Some of them were mentors for me, those who shaped my life and what I am today because of all those Canadian mentoring and support. So I'm ever grateful to Canadians for that. Not only that, even after coming to India, when I started the foundation, this foundation was based on the support of Canadians across from East Coast, St. John's, Newfoundland to West Coast, Vancouver Island. With this people's support, I could perform all my charity work here. So, and I'm ever grateful and thankful for all those people. Even after getting the Padmashri Award, this is what I mentioned at several places. Without this Canadian support for all these 37, 8 years, I couldn't have achieved what I have achieved so far. So this is my feeling towards my Canadian friends and Canada. That's my actually first home. India will be my second home.
But do you think the acquittal of two of the prime accused and former Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau's failure to extradite one of the accused in 1982, 3 years before the tragedy, do you think there was on the part of the Canadian government, not of its people, but on the part of the Canadian government, do you think there was a lack of initiative when it came to curbing separatist sentiment in Canada? Or do you think there was a lack of intelligence failure in preventing this attack?
Shubhangi, I'm not at all a politician. I was just an ordinary citizen of Canada. I was a scientist doing my research and my work. These thoughts never occurred to me. Even after the accident, I put the whole thing behind me, never followed the case or followed them directly. Because to me, whatever happened, happened. I did not want to be bothered with that. And I kept on moving forward with my mission in life. So that kept me going. And that gave me a lot of peace of mind also. Instead of dwelling into the past and wondering what happened, how it happened, I'm sure there are no answers for many of those questions. So I stopped questioning long time ago, several years ago, actually. So that's why I'm able to focus on my work, achieve what I have achieved, and still I want to go ahead with the same feeling.
Okay, and I'm sorry to ask this, but after so many years now that the tragedy is back in news, do you think now, like you found closure in social work, there are still some families who interview with news people and they don't have a sense of closure? Do you think so many years later, now that we have a stronger India, which is reminding the government of this tragedy that happened, do you think now is an opportunity for so many other family members to seek peace, to get a sense of closure?
But what I still say, no matter what happens now, we cannot get those lost people back. That's the reality of the situation. So to me, my family is always with me. They are still living in my memories. I never forget them, and I can't forget them also. Till my last breath, they will be with me. And this is what I have adjusted in my life for this one. So I really can't speak about others. But I suggest only to everybody is to move on with their life. Don't get bogged down in the past. Don't get bogged down in the revenge or whatever it is, because it doesn't give you anything at all. So what's the purpose of doing this again and again? So I think I suggest to them they should put everything behind them and move forward and be happy with the rest of their lives.
Right, sir. So when it comes to eye care in this country, sir, what do you think organizations like you are providing healthcare, especially eye care in rural and remote areas? Do you think what other initiatives on the part of the government can it be taken to provide equitable access to eye care across the country, um, by the state, and not just by charitable foundations like yours, but how can the state improve at providing equitable eye care across the country?
They have many programs, but as you know, India is a big country and spread all over in a very remote pockets and all that. It is there, but not really accessible and affordable to many people. There are some lot of changes in India ever since I came back here, but still there are some room for improvements. That's where I am stepping in and trying to do my best.
Right. So, what would be this room of improvement?
Pardon?
What kind, like you say, there's still room for improvement. What kind of improvement does India need as
Yeah.
an expert voice in the field?
Yes, improvement is make services more accessible, affordable, and equitable with quality component in it. That's what I want to see. That's what I'm trying to do here in a small way.
Right. So, sir, so many students educated, so many people given access to eye care. So many people, like you said, there's also midday meals.
But Shubhagni, when I did these things, I did not expect anything in return for them. But when I see the poor people coming and talking to me and putting namaste to my statue and the pictures of my wife and children, that really touched my heart. I didn't expect that. They don't have to do that. But I'm very happy that way. They feel they have been served by the blessings of those three people departed. So that gives me a lot of satisfaction.
Okay, so final question, and I'm sorry that it would be slightly political. Right now in politics, again, the word Khalistan has come back to day-to-day news. Um, do you want to share any take on this separatist sentiment, not in India, but at least on the political level, that the two countries are talking about Khalistani terrorism, separatism, militancy? What is your take on it? Do you think it's a ghost that should have been left buried long ago, or is this a wound we should not have scratched?
To be honest with you, I don't understand politics. My mind doesn't work that way at all. I always focus on the mission I have to do, and that keeps me going. It's not up to me to make any comments without having a deep knowledge about it. So this is why I cannot take stand on any of those things. The only thing one bothers me is any terrorist activity really touches my heart because I know what it is like. I went through. I hope any terrorist activity anywhere in the world should not be acceptable, and the whole world should towards it, towards the peace, towards living in harmony. Actually, towards this, I'm also starting a Canada India Peace Garden here in our compound. So the
Okay.
idea is to commemorate our bondage with Canada and India. This is my small gesture towards it before I pass away from this life.
Still under construction?
No, actually, the land is already there. I'm planning towards it, just mostly beautiful scenery. People can walk in and with a little small something like a gazebo inside, and just something symbolic to commemorate the Indo-Canada friendship at Sankurathri Foundation.
So many Indians in Canada, and such a close cultural relationship between India and Canada, just because there are so many Indians who reside there, who go there in search of a better life. Do you think now both the countries should just shake hands, let go of any animosity between them?
I think that's a good move. Actually, I would suggest that.
Hmm.
You know, small things should not matter in a human relationships. we should overcome those things and live like a one community, understand each other, give way to each other.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview.
Yeah.
And hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Shubhangi.
Thank you. Thank you for all the hard work, sir. Thank you.